Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. Got my logo here. So we're getting things set up as they ought to be. All right, so the wall is now complete. I went around and created supply depots wherever I thought they were needed. They're not totally evenly distributed around, but they're as close to even as I thought they ought to be. And so far things have been pretty calm. If we look at our pollution cloud, we can see that we've taken out most of the bases within the cloud. You know, there's a few that are getting affected, and obviously that's going to get worse and worse as we continue through the game. But so at some point we may have to reinforce the defenses. But for now, since I got the wall done, the attacks have been fairly infrequent. I also ran around the interior and took out all the worms, so there are no more biters within the walls, as far as I know. There could be a few still hanging around, and we may get a spawner nest popping up someplace. But for now, everything within the walls seems to be clear. So I've actually already removed the previous wall. I left all the roboports and power poles in place for now, just because I wanted the bots to be able to get there to take everything out. So I'll have to go back at some point and remove all the roboports and the poles. In fact, I could probably even start just doing it little by little. You know, starting in a corner, for example, and just working my way back. You know, because once these roboports get taken out, it'll shrink the range. But I think as long as I kind of do it gradually, then I should be able to maintain enough range for the bots to get out and remove what I want removed. I removed the wall around this iron patch. So we're looking pretty good. And then on the supply trains, I actually have two trains. So I set up one to service supply 1 through supply 11, and then I have a second train that's servicing 12 through 22. Just so that it wouldn't take so long for a single train to get all the way around. Right, but it is a one-way clockwise loop, so the first train will go and stop at each one up to 11, and then it'll have to continue around to come back to the resupply. And then the second one starts at 11 and finishes at 22. Okay, so we've got quite a lot of area to work with. I'm hoping that we've got enough resources inside the walls to get to 1,000 science per minute, and hopefully enough room to build everything. We'll have to see, and I'll need to figure out how to lay things out. With the starter base right in the middle, I suppose that's not the most convenient place to have it, since it's going to kind of force me to build all around the starter base, but that's okay. We'll see what we can do. All right, see, there's our train doing its job. Nice. Yeah, so it's, I think, a pretty good setup we got. Another thing I did is I upgraded over here in our copper mine, I upgraded the belts to red so that we could get a little more throughput, and I added some more mining drills because we were having a problem where I was running out of copper before the next train came in. But by making those upgrades, I can fill the train faster, and now it seems that we're able to keep a steady supply of copper going into the smelters. Okay, so there's two things that I'd like to do next. The first one is I've got artillery shell range, and I've got artillery shell shooting speed. And each of those requires 2,000 space science. So what I would like to do now is to launch 4 more rockets so that I can get the space science to get those 2 researches done. Okay, so I'll put, let's put a couple of them. I'll put some inserters and provider chests. When we launch a rocket with a satellite, it'll bring back space science, and then we can use that to do that research. So I'm going to start that. And I think all that I need to do is allow these rocket components to begin to flow once more. I think I will disconnect the flow of circuits to the module factory so that we can focus on getting this stuff done. And speaking of modules, I think I'll upgrade all of these modules to 4. All right, I still got speed modules 4 there. So let me go do that. And then once we get that rolling, I want to... where are my speed modules? Oh yeah, they're in the productivity modules are in the train. So I'll grab a few stacks from there. The other thing I'd like to do is start building nuclear power. We're using a lot of power now, 342 megawatts at the moment, and it's obviously going to continue to climb. I had expanded solar. I think I'd like to stop with the solar now, and just get the rest of our power from nuclear. Okay, so let's upgrade all of these. Oh, and somebody said that you can use an upgrade planner to do that. So let's try this. What if I want to upgrade prod 1 to prod 3? Nice. Okay, and let's do that for our lightweight or low density structures. And we might as well do it on our blue circuits. And I should do that with my labs too. The speed penalty for productivity modules is the same no matter what tier you're using. So you might as well use the highest tier because you're already paying the price, right? I'll leave those as level 1s. I don't want to... That's a fairly low benefit operation there. But I think upgrading all the labs would be a good idea. Or maybe just most of the labs. It seems like I might not really need all of these labs. Let's try to cut it off here and see how we do. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll probably be enough. Question is, how am I going to get my space science in? Good question, right? Well, I know how I can feed them with bots. Or yeah, with bots, right? I can just use the logistics network and feed the labs with chests. So I think that's what we'll do. Let's see how we're doing on our rocket. Okay, coming along nicely. Something's blinking at me down here. Okay. Great. Okay, so we're going to need to make a few satellites, 4 to be exact. So let's get that done. Those need lots of stuff, but I think we can do that with bots. All right, so we'll set that to make a satellite. I'll put a requester chest, copy paste, and a stack inserter. And I think I have all these in the network already. Right, rocket fuel I know I've got. Low density structures. Low density structures I don't have. But we can use a splitter to get at those. Okay, radar, blue circuits. I think I'm putting blue circuits in the network. No, I'm not. Okay, well, I should be. Okay, and we'll limit that to 200. Yeah, and I should have moved this over by 1. Okay, well here we can just do that. Let me check on the radar. I don't recall if I actually have that going into the network or just feeding directly into the into here. Okay, yeah, I do have it, but I need to tell that requester to request from buffer chests. There, that way it'll grab the radars. Okay, and then we'll tell it auto launch with cargo, so as soon as the radar gets loaded, the rocket will launch on its own without me having to do it manually. Okay, well, everything's getting fed at with all the materials they need. Oh, except for this. Yeah. I'm not getting all the red circuits. I need to cut it there. Because this side's not working. Alright, so I'll just have to wait for this to back up. Okay, and the low density structures will be a little bit slow too. Since half of them are going to be going to the satellite. But anyway, we'll let that go for now. Let's set up the labs. Let's set up the labs to use the robot network. Okay, so we'll set this to limit at, I don't know, let's say 200. And we'll copy that down. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start feeding all of this with bots. And that way we can get more than just the 6 science packs into the labs. Okay, so this will be purple at 200. There. And then we can remove this entire belt. Actually, we can remove all of these belts. Okay, put that there. Okay, so red science, less than 200. Copy and paste that. And green science. Copy and paste that. Okay, and then I'll get rid of all these science packs, put them in the logistic network. Okay, and then we can remove all of this. Actually, we can remove all these inserters here as well. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. All right. And then we put requester chests. Like so. And then here we are going to, actually, what happens if I copy paste? And then here we just request every science pack, including space science. But I am going to reduce the stack size. Let's just make it 20. Okay, like that. And then I just took out the excess just so I can have it not fill itself up so much. Why did that happen? I guess it's because I killed that RoboPort. Okay, and then we copy paste that. Okay. Right, so military science and blue science we need to pick up still. All right, Alright, so we'll set this to military science 200. Okay, and that's already shutting off because we've already got 200 in there. And let's pick up that belt. Okay, and all the blue science as well. Okay, I think that's got all the science packs covered. Okay, so now all the science is going to be fed by robots. And it seems to be doing just fine. All right, I'm going to put all these modules away. So they go back in my train or wherever. Let's see how we're doing here. We're at 79%. Okay, we've got one satellite done. So that'll cover the first launch. All right, so let's go ahead and queue up that research. We'll do range first. The speed I don't really care about, but having the increase in range will be very nice. It'll increase the turret range by 30%. So, oh, let me see something. Okay, yeah, and it affects the automatic range as well, which is what I'm really interested in. So that way my supply trains will have a greater range when they stop, which will be a big help. Okay, and low density structures are a little bit slow, so we can speed these up a tad by doing that. And I suppose we could do the same to all the rocket parts. I don't think I need to upgrade the speed modules. Okay, so that'll help. I'll just remove that so we can accelerate this a little bit. Okay. We could also do this. Let me grab some productivity modules. Oh, okay. And now you can hover over this. You can see the number of rocket parts produced. So we're at 87%, right down there at the bottom. So that's nice that you can, it used to be that you had to click into it to see where you were at. Okay, so the first rocket should be launching fairly soon. Okay, so let's start working on nuclear power. I'm going to get rid of these blueprints. Hopefully I won't need those anytime soon. I'll get rid of that too. I've got that in my library anyway. Oh, let's check on this wall deconstruction. Okay. The RoboPort got picked up a little too soon. Guess I should do that first and then do that. All right, I'll probably have to do that manually. All right. Let me see if I've got my nuclear blueprint book. Yes, good. Okay, so this is the same setup that I used in my last series. Okay, so this is it's a great design. So this is the beginning of the nuclear array. So you start off with 2 reactors, and then as you need more power, you can expand it, up to 10. And then if you need still more power after that, you just start building another one of these. Right, so we'll be building power in arrays of 10 reactors. Okay, so we'll start with that one. That'll give us 160 megawatts. And to do that, we're going to need 2 reactors, 38 heat pipes, 28 turbines, 16 heat exchangers. Okay, so it's not too terribly resource intensive. So let's set up the production of those articles. All right, so we'll start with, and I might just do this with bots. Copper, steel, red circuits. Okay. Let's expand our concrete pad here, since I've filled in some of the water. Yeah, let's just go all the way down to the water. Why not? Oh, okay. There goes our first rocket. Look at this, little tiny bits of water. And you can copy paste landfill now too. Okay, so we've got copper and steel over here. So I think it would be good to do the reactor 1, 2, 3 right here. Okay, and I'm not even going to put it in a chest. So we should be getting space science over here now. Yep, and our research is going. Awesome. And then, okay, so now I need to get the low density structures back over there. All right, so I'll go set down so we can start making another satellite. All right, so we also need red circuits. need concrete, which I will get by way of requester chest. $500 red circuits. Yeah, so these are these are not a trivial thing to make. Okay. Heat pipes take copper and steel as well, so let's make those 1, 2, 3 down here. We can feed those in the same manner. Let's see. There we go. And we'll put those in a passive provider. And how many am I going to need for this? First one, 38. Okay, so we'll just cap this at 50, let's say. Ooh. I'm out of power. All right, so not a moment too soon, right? All right, so it's good that we're doing this. Let's request 500. Get that loaded up. Whew. Okay. Yeah, making the rockets and everything is putting a big load. All right, copper, steel, and pipe for steel plates. These things all just use a lot of copper, right? So I'll just put all of these down here. 1, 2, 3. There. Okay, so we'll put the heat exchangers and then we'll put the turbines. Okay, and then these two require pipe. 1, 2, 3. So we'll put pipes over here. Pipe, there we go. Okay, and then some of these are going to need gears as well. Okay, so checking again, 16 heat exchangers. All right, so I'll cap this at 16. Oops. Well, let's just make it 50. We'll make some extras for when we're ready to expand. And I'll do the same here. Okay, so I've already got my 2 reactors. I'm going to shut this off so that we don't continue making those, just because they're so resource expensive, and I only need 2 right now. Okay, what else are we going to need? I'm going to need a lot of pipe. I'm going to need a couple offshore pumps, which I can handcraft. I'll grab some extra pipes. Okay, we'll get our heat pipes. All right, and we'll grab the components that we can. All right, so now we just have to figure out where to build it. There's no water over here, so I want to build this close to water. And maybe just building it south of our solar array would be a good idea. That way we keep all of our power in the same place. So let's go do it there. I'm going to grab a bunch of landfill as well so that I can make a nice straight edge. All right. And I'm going to use some of this to make myself a path. So I can get around it. Okay. Okay, let's make it... crud. Okay, well, I'm going to have to go all the way out to here. Okay. Yeah, this we can get rid of. This is part of the old defense network. We don't need that anymore. And we're out of power again. Okay. So let's get this built. I will build it down here so that I have room to expand it. Okay. And that's good because I got at least one side done. And this is all in Roboport range. Not quite. I need to leave room there. All right, so let's put a Roboport there. Yeah, and then I'll put the other one right there. Okay, so now we just need to fuel these guys. Now the reactors are going to go this way, so I'm going to put the chests above and below. All right, we need to feed that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a requester chest requesting fuel cells. And we'll just request 5. And then the active provider will take care of the spent fuel cells. They'll get ejected, and then we'll reprocess those. Like that. And that's it. It'll take a minute or two for the for the fuel cells to get down there, but you can see I'm making more. I had some buffered already. Let's see what our ratio is. We're at 62:1. Okay, so Coverex can continue. Okay, nice. And of course, this is going to be wonderful because we'll have power at night as well as during the daytime. All right, here comes our fuel cells. All right, and I'm going to take a few of these to get that one started as well. Pardon me, it will take a little bit of time for these to get up to temperature. All right, here comes some more. Great. Okay, and then these are each now getting a neighbor bonus of 100%. So having 2 reactors side by side like this gets you the power. Like you can see that one reactor provides 40 megawatts of power. 2 reactors with no bonus would give you 80 megawatts, but because they're next to each other, you know, they're more efficient with generating heat when they're side by side. So you get a neighbor bonus of 100%. So each one puts out 40 megawatts plus 100% more from the neighbor bonus, which is 80, which is why with 2 reactors, with 1 reactor you get 40 megawatts, and with 2 you get 160. And as we add more, you know, like when you go to 4 reactors, you get an even bigger boost because then you get 200% neighbor bonus on each one. So 4 reactors is like 12, if that makes sense, because then each one gives 40 megawatts plus a 200% bonus, because each one will then have 2 neighbors, one here and one here. So the bonuses increase as you continue to stack these things. It gets to be very efficient. All right. Now this isn't going to start to work until the temperature of the heat exchangers gets to 500 degrees C. Right, so we can see the reactor temperature right now is 260, you know, it's climbing up to 300. And then the heat needs to propagate down the heat pipe, which takes a little bit of time. But once they get to 500 C, then they'll start to generate steam, and then the steam will power the turbines, and we'll start getting power. I'm going to add a few lights here, just because I like to have lots of lights around. All right, and then when these fuel cells are depleted, they'll go into the active provider, and then we have the option to reprocess those. Here we go. So you can take 5 overused fuel cells and you can convert them back into 3 pieces of uranium-238, which is part of the, you know, the 13-to-1 ratio. That 13-to-1 ratio depends on it depends on doing the fuel reprocessing, the fuel cell reprocessing. Otherwise, it's 16-to-1, I believe. Okay, and then we can keep the bots busy filling in the rest of this area while we're off doing other things. That way we'll be ready to continue to expand. Okay, so we're almost at 500. Let's wait here a minute and see what happens. Now, in the past, I've done fancy circuits that would limit the insertion of fuel. I got too many. That would limit the insertion of fuel so that so that I didn't use a lot of fuel all at once. But recently I've decided not to do that. I mean, especially now we're starting this late enough to where we have plenty of fuel cells built already. But I found that you can make these things fast enough, even without the Covarex enrichment, that it's not really necessary to do that. Okay. So we are now making power. Yeah, so I'm not going to bother with storing steam. I'm not going to bother with limiting the consumption of nuclear fuel. We'll just we'll scale up the fuel production if we need to, rather than dealing with all that fancy stuff. Okay, and I will put a link to this blueprint book in the description. I didn't design this. This is from... I don't remember the author's name now. I'm sorry about that, but I got this off of factorioprints.com, and I've used this blueprint many times in the past, so it's worked well for me. All right, so we can see now we're getting close to 160 megawatts. I wonder why we're not quite at 160. Okay, and now it has shut off, and I'm assuming that's because we're getting all that we need from the solar panels. No. Why did it shut off? Yeah, that must be it, right? Satisfaction's at 100%, and the solar panels are providing everything that we need, so I'm guessing that's why it's turned off now. And we're going to continue to burn, we're going to continue to use nuclear fuel, even in that case. Which is not the most efficient use of the fuel, but that's okay. I don't mind. All right, let's see how our rocket's doing. We've still only gotten one. We're stuck at 40% because we don't have low density structures, and we don't have those because we're running low on plastic. And we're running low on plastic probably because I used a ton of red circuits to make the reactor. Yeah, and I've got another 1,000 queued up. All right, well, hopefully that'll catch up soon so we can get the rest of this research done. Okay, so now that we've got power, I think the next thing for us to do is to start building up the base, really. I'll start with smelting. I'll need to figure out how I want to lay out the train network inside the base. Look, we've got an expansion here. There we go. Did have an expansion. Awesome. I love it. Yep, the wall's working well. Awesome. Okay, well, anyway, I'm just kind of rambling right now. I'll try to work on a rough layout of where I want things to be in the base, and then we'll start building it up in the next episode. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. See you next time. Bye.